The massive space station hung in the darkness like a metal moon, pressed her face against the transport ship's window, watching the arena grow larger. Lights flickered across its surface, and she could see thousands of ships docked at various ports. This was the Galactic Combat Nexus, the most famous fighting arena in the known universe. "Stop staring and focus," said from the seat beside her. He was older, maybe 50, with gray hair and sharp eyes. He had been training for 3 years. "You need to stay calm." Nodded but kept looking. She had dreamed of this place for so long. Now that she was here, fear and excitement mixed in her stomach. She was 24 years old, and she was about to fight aliens who had been warriors for decades. The ship docked with a loud clang. Other passengers stood up, mostly aliens from different worlds. Saw a tall blue creature with 4 arms, a floating jellyfish-like being, and several others she could not identify. They all looked strong. They all looked dangerous. "Come on," said, grabbing their bags. They walked through the docking area into the main station. The corridor was huge, with ceilings so high that felt tiny. Alien languages filled the air, mixing into a strange music. Shops lined the walls, selling weapons, armor, and medical supplies. Screens everywhere showed fights from the arena. Stopped when she saw one screen. A massive reptilian creature was fighting a smaller alien covered in spikes. The reptilian warrior moved fast despite his size. His red scales reflected the arena lights. He grabbed his opponent and threw him across the ring. The spiked alien did not get up. "That is," said quietly, "the champion." "I know," whispered. She had watched every video of him she could find, had won 47 matches. He had never lost. He had killed 17 opponents who refused to surrender. "He is twice your size and 3 times your weight," continued. "But we are not thinking about him yet. First, you have preliminary matches." They continued walking until they reached the registration area. A bored-looking alien with green skin and multiple eyes sat behind a desk. It looked at and made a sound like laughing. "Another human," it said in translated speech. "You are the third one this year. The other 2 died in their first matches." Felt her hands tighten into fists, but put a hand on her shoulder. "Just register us," he said calmly. The alien processed their documents and gave a bracelet. "Your first match is tomorrow. Check the board for your opponent. Medical services are on level 5 if you survive." It laughed again. They found their small room in the fighters' quarters. It had 2 beds and a wall screen. Immediately started unpacking equipment while sat down heavily. "Do not listen to them," said. "They think humans are weak because we are new to space. They do not understand us yet." "Maybe they are right," said softly. "Maybe I am being stupid." Stopped and looked at her. "Do you remember why you are here?" Closed her eyes. She remembered her older brother lying in the hospital bed. He had been a fighter too 3 years ago. He had trained his whole life to come to this arena. In his first match, an alien warrior had broken his spine. Now could not walk. He would never walk again. "I remember," she said. "Your brother was brave," said, "but he fought like the aliens wanted him to fight. We have trained differently. We use what makes humans special." "And what is that?" asked, though she had heard this speech many times. "We adapt, we endure, we never give up," smiled. "The aliens are stronger and faster, yes, but they have become predictable. They rely on their natural advantages. You will surprise them." That night could not sleep well. She kept thinking about all the training. She thought about her friend who had built her special combat suit. She thought about everyone back on Earth who was watching and hopping. The next morning she checked the fight board. Her opponent was listed, Threshold. She looked up his species on the database. Were strong, with 4 arms and thick exoskeleton armor. Thresh had won 12 matches and lost 3. "Good news," said, reading over her shoulder. "He has lost before. That means he can lose again." They spent the day preparing. Made her run through exercises and meditation. sent a video message from Earth showing the improvements she had made to suit. It was light and flexible, designed for speed rather than protection. Most fighters here wear heavy armor, explained in the video. But humans are naturally tougher than aliens think. Our bones are denser because we evolved in higher gravity. Use that advantage. In the afternoon, walked around the station. She saw other fighters preparing, merchants selling goods and spectators from 100 worlds. She stopped at a viewing area where people could watch the arena below. A fight was happening. She watched as faced another challenger, this time a mechanical warrior. The fight lasted less than a minute, was not just strong or fast. He was smart, experienced, and completely without mercy. Enjoying the show, a deep voice said behind her. Turned and froze. Stood there, even bigger in person than on screens. His red scales gleamed, and his yellow eyes studied her with intelligence. "You are the human fighting tomorrow," he said. It was not a question. "Yes," managed to say. "I have watched your species with interest," said. "You are weak physically, but you keep trying. I respect that, even if it is foolish." He leaned closer. "If you survive long enough, perhaps we will meet in the ring. I would like to test a human properly." Then he walked away, leaving standing alone with her heart pounding. That evening helped her suit up. The fight was in 1 hour. Looked at herself in the mirror. She looked small. She looked human. But in her eyes she saw determination. "Remember," said, "humans have conquered everything on Earth. We climbed to the top of our world through thinking and refusing to quit. Show them what that means." Walked through the tunnel toward the arena. She could hear the crowd already, thousands of voices in dozens of languages. The tunnel ended at a force field that kept her from entering until the match began. On the other side, Thresh was waiting. He was huge, with 4 arms ending in sharp claws. His exoskeleton looked like natural armor. He saw and made a sound like laughter. The announcer's voice boomed across the arena in multiple languages. The next match, Thresh against Earth. The force field dropped. Stepped into the arena, and the crowd roared. The arena floor was hard under his feet. The crowd noise surrounded her like a wave of sound. Thousands of aliens from hundreds of worlds watched from seats that rose up into darkness. Massive screens showed her face, making her look even smaller next to images of Thresh. Thresh walked forward slowly, confident. His 4 arms flexed, and his claws clicked together. He spoke in his own language, but the translator in his ear changed it to words she understood. "This will be quick, human. I will try not to hurt you too badly." Did not respond. Had taught her to save energy, even the energy used for talking. She moved into her stance, knees bent, hands ready. The starting bell rang. Thresh charged immediately, exactly as expected. Most aliens fought with direct attacks, using their natural strength. She rolled to the side, and his claws hit the floor where she had been standing. The impact left scratches in the metal. The crowd made sounds of disappointment. They wanted to see blood quickly. Thresh turned and attacked again, this time with 2 arms high and 2 arms low. Ducked under the high attack and blocked the low one, but the force pushed her back several meters. Her arms hurt from just one block. "You are fast for something so weak," Thresh said. He was not even breathing hard. Circled, watching, had made her study anatomy for weeks. They were strong and armored, but their 4 arms made them use more energy. Their exoskeleton was thick everywhere except the joints, and they were used to winning quickly, not to long fights. Thresh attacked again and again, dodged most strikes and blocked when she had to. Each block hurt, but she was counting his attacks, counting his movements, learning his patterns. 5 minutes passed, then 10. The crowd started making different sounds, confused sounds. Why was the human still alive? Thresh was breathing harder now. His attacks were still strong but slightly slower. Could see wetness forming on his exoskeleton. Did not handle heat well, and the arena was warm. Now it was turn. She stopped retreating and moved forward. Thresh looked surprised and swung all four arms at once, dropped flat to the ground, and his arms hit nothing but air. Before he could recover, she swept his legs. Thresh fell with a loud crash. The crowd gasped, jumped on his back and locked her arm around his neck joint, where the exoskeleton was thinnest. She squeezed with all her strength. Thresh tried to reach her with his arms, but she was positioned where he could not grab her properly. "Surrender," said quietly in his ear. Thresh struggled for another 30 seconds. Then he tapped the floor 3 times, the surrender signal. The bell rang. The fight was over. Stood up, breathing hard. The crowd was silent for a moment, then erupted in mixed reactions. Some cheered, excited by the upset. Others made angry sounds, having bet against her. Met her at the tunnel entrance, smiling widely. "Perfect, exactly as we planned." That night's body ached everywhere. The medical team treated her bruises and gave her medicine for the pain. Sent a video message from Earth, his face showing pride and tears. "You did it, little sister," he said. "You actually did it." But knew one victory meant nothing. She had 2 more preliminary matches before the championship bracket. Her second match was 3 days later against a fighter named. They were serpent-like, fast, and poisonous. Had venomous spines that could paralyze most species. "This is dangerous," said as they prepared. "One good hit from her poison and you are finished." "Do humans react the same way as other species to poison?" asked. Shook his head. "We do not know. No human has fought it before." The fight started badly, was incredibly fast, faster than Thresh. She struck's leg with her tail in the first minute. Pain shot through's body and her leg went numb. The crowd cheered. This was what they expected. The weak human would fall now. But stayed standing. The numbness spread, but she did not collapse. Something had said came back to her. Humans had incredible pain tolerance compared to most species. Earth was a harsh world, and humans had evolved to keep functioning even when hurt. Looked confused. "You should be on the ground," she hissed. "Should be," said through gritted teeth, "but I am not." She could not run properly with one numb leg, so she changed her strategy. She let come to her, blocked what she could, and took several more hits. Each one hurt, but stayed conscious through pure willpower. 15 minutes into the fight, something interesting happened. Was slowing down. She had used too much venom too quickly, and now her attacks lacked poison. Saw her chance. She grabbed during an attack, accepting a bite to her shoulder in exchange for a solid hold. She threw the fighter to the ground and did not let go until surrendered. Collapsed right after the bell rang. The medical team rushed out and carried her to emergency treatment. She woke up 6 hours later with and both there, had flown in from Earth. "You are insane," said, but she was smiling. "The doctors said the amount of poison in your body would have killed any other species twice over." "Human liver is very good at processing toxins," added, "but do not make a habit of this." The news of second victory spread across the galactic networks. Sports commentators who had mocked her now debated whether humans had been hiding their capabilities. Betting odds on her survival improved from 50,000 to 1 to just 100 to 1. Her third preliminary match was against a warrior named. They were cyborgs, half organic and half machine. Had mechanical arms that could punch through steel and computer-enhanced reflexes. "He is faster and stronger than you," said. "His computer brain calculates the best move in milliseconds." "Then I need to be unpredictable," replied. The fight with was different from the others. Did not try to outlast him or poison him. Instead, she did strange things. She pretended to attack, then did not. She fell down on purpose, then jumped up suddenly. She made faces and sounds to distract him. His computer brain tried to calculate her patterns, but had no pattern. Humans could be creative and random in ways machines could not predict. She frustrated him, confused him, and made him angry. When someone gets angry, they make mistakes. Made a big one. He overextended an attack and trapped his mechanical arm between two floor panels that she had loosened earlier. While he tried to pull free, she struck the connection point where his organic brain met his computer systems. Collapsed, his systems temporarily shut down. The referee counted him out. Had won all 3 preliminary matches. She was moving to the championship bracket. The crowd stood and cheered, even the ones who had bet against her. They had witnessed something new, a human who could compete with the best warriors in the galaxy. Back in her room that night, received an official message. The tournament bracket was set. In 5 days, she would fight for the championship. Her opponent, the undefeated champion, looked at the message and then "This is it. This is what you came here for." Nodded slowly. Everything had been building to this. All the training, all the pain, all the preparation. She thought of every human who had been called weak. 5 days, she said. We have 5 days to figure out how to beat him. Outside her window, the lights of the arena blazed against the darkness of space. Somewhere in that same station was preparing too. The galaxy was watching and waiting. The real fight was about to begin. The news spread across the galaxy faster than light. A human had made it to the championship match. On Earth, people celebrated in the streets. On alien worlds, debates raged about whether this was a fluke or if humans were more dangerous than anyone had realized. Sat in her room, watching recordings of fights for the 100th time. Sat beside her taking notes. Worked on his combat suit, making final adjustments. Look at this, said, pausing a video. In every fight, tests his opponent first. 3 attacks, all different styles. Then he adapts to whatever works best. He is smart, said, not just strong. Very smart, agreed. He has fought for 40 years. He has seen every trick, every strategy. We cannot surprise him with technique alone. Looked up from her work. What about the arena itself? Can we use the environment? Shook his head. He knows that arena better than anyone. He has fought there 47 times. They worked through the night, analyzing every detail. Speed was incredible for his size. His scales could resist most weapons. His regeneration meant small cuts healed within minutes. He had stamina that seemed endless. How do we beat someone like that? Asked quietly. Nobody answered at first, then spoke. Maybe we do not beat him the way everyone else tried. Maybe we use what makes you human. I am already using that, said. My endurance, my adaptability. No, I mean really human, continued. Has fought hundreds of aliens, but he has never fought a human in a real match. He does not know what we can really do. Sat up, she is right. Every species has advantages, but they also have patterns. Expects certain things. We need to show him things he has never seen. The next morning, a message arrived requesting his presence in a private meeting room. When she arrived, was waiting. Up close, he was even more intimidating. His red scales seemed to glow with inner light. His yellow eyes held intelligence and experience. He gestured to a chair across from him. Sit, young human, he said. His voice was deep and surprisingly gentle. Sat, keeping her back straight and her fear hidden. I requested this meeting because I am curious, said. You have won 3 matches using different strategies each time. You adapt quickly. Your species is interesting. Thank you, said carefully. Do not misunderstand, continued. I will still defeat you. I have never lost, and I will not lose to someone who has been fighting for only 3 years. He leaned forward. But I want you to know that I respect your courage. Coming here, facing me, knowing you will probably die, that takes strength of a different kind. I am not going to die, said quietly, and I am not going to lose. His expression changed slightly. Was that a smile? Good, fight with that spirit, make our match memorable. The galaxy is watching. After he left, sat alone for a while thinking, was confident but not arrogant. He respected strength but expected to win. That was useful to know. The training for the next 4 days was brutal, pushed harder than ever before. On the third day, during a particularly intense exercise, felt something tear in her shoulder. She collapsed with a cry of pain. The medical team rushed her to emergency care. The doctor, a multi-armed alien with kind eyes, examined her carefully. "The muscle is badly torn," the doctor said. "You need rest at least 2 weeks." "I have 2 days," said through clenched teeth. "Then you will fight injured and lose badly," the doctor replied. "Probably die." "Fix it as much as you can," insisted. "Please." The doctor sighed but agreed. They used advanced medicine that Earth did not have yet, knitting the muscle together with synthetic fibers and growth accelerators. It would not be perfect, but it would work. That night visited. He had flown in from Earth despite his condition, using a floating chair to move around. "You should not have come," said. "The trip is hard on you." "I had to see you," said, "before your big fight." He moved his chair closer. "When I fought here 3 years ago, I tried to be strong like them. I tried to match power with power. That is why I lost." "I know," said softly. "But you are fighting differently," continued. "You are fighting like a human should fight, smart, adaptable, never giving up." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small data chip. "Before I got hurt, I was working on a special technique. I never got to use it. I want you to have it." Took the chip and loaded it into her training system. The technique appeared as a hologram. It was complex, using an opponent's momentum against them with precise timing. "This is dangerous," said, studying it. "If you miss the timing by even a fraction of a second, will crush you." "Then I will not miss," said. They practiced the technique for hours, using simulation programs. It required perfect reading of an opponent's attack, perfect positioning, and perfect timing. One mistake meant death. On the morning of the fight, woke up early. Her shoulder ached but held. She went through her stretches slowly, checking every muscle and joint. Arrived with the final version of her combat suit. "This is the best work I have ever done," said. "Light, flexible, and it will protect you from 1, maybe 2 killing blows. After that, you are on your own." Messages flooded in from Earth. From her parents, from old friends, from thousands of people she did not know. All of them saying the same thing: they believed in her. Sent an official message. "The eyes of humanity are upon you. Win or lose, you have already made us proud. But please try to win." Helped her suit up in silence. There was nothing left to say. They had trained for 3 years for this moment. Everything that could be done had been done. "Remember," finally said, "is stronger, faster, and more experienced. But he is not smarter than you, and he does not want it more than you do. Use that." Hugged her mentor, then her brother. Held her hand for a long moment. "Make them remember," he said. "Make them remember what humans can do." The walk to the arena felt longer than before. The tunnel echoed with her footsteps. She could hear the crowd already, louder than any of her previous fights. The entire galaxy was watching this match, broadcast to billions across hundreds of worlds. At the entrance, stopped and closed her eyes. She thought of Earth, green and blue in space. She thought of every human who had been called weak, primitive, inferior. She thought of in his hospital bed, of patient teaching, of brilliant engineering. She thought of her own hands, small and human, that had climbed and built and created across centuries. Hands that had refused to accept limits. The force field shimmered in front of her. Beyond it, the arena waited. Somewhere on the other side was preparing too. The announcer's voice boomed across the space. The championship match, the undefeated against of Earth. The crowd roared like thunder. The force field dropped. Walked into the light, ready to show the galaxy what a human could do. The arena was filled completely, not a single empty seat among the thousands that rose into the darkness above. Screens the size of buildings showed every angle, could feel the weight of billions of eyes across the galaxy watching through broadcasts. stood on the opposite side of the arena, motionless as a statue. His red scales gleamed under the bright lights. He was easily twice height and 3 times her weight, all of it muscle and armored skin. He looked like something from a nightmare. The referee, a neutral alien from a peaceful species, floated between them on a gravity platform. Fighters, you know the rules. Surrender is by tapping 3 times or verbal declaration. Medical teams are standing by. This match continues until one fighter cannot continue or surrenders. The referee looked at both of them. Begin. The bell rang. Neither fighter moved for 3 seconds. They watched each other, measuring, calculating, then moved and understood why he had never lost. He was fast, impossibly fast for something so large. His fist came at like a missile. She barely dodged, feeling the wind from his punch against her face. The fist hit the arena floor behind her, cracking the metal. Followed with a kick that had to block. The impact sent her sliding backward 10 meters, her feet leaving marks on the floor. Her arms felt numb from just one block. "You are quick," said, already attacking again, "but that will not be enough." Dodged 3 more strikes, then 4, then 5. She did not try to counterattack. Not yet. Had taught her to learn first, then act. Every fighter had patterns, even the best ones. But seemed to have no pattern. Every attack came from a different angle, with different speed, different timing. He was testing her, just as had predicted, but he was testing with strikes that could kill. 5 minutes passed, had not landed a single hit. She had barely avoided being hit herself. The crowd was getting excited. This was the domination they expected. Then changed tactics. He stopped the constant attacks and started to corner her, using the arena's space against her. Found herself with her back near the wall, charged like a bull. Rolled to the side at the last second, crashed into the wall hard enough to dent it. Before he could turn, struck his side 3 times, targeting the spots where scales met. Her hits barely seemed to affect him. Turned with a sound like laughter. "Good, you have spirit." He swung again, and this time his claws caught his arm. 3 lines of red appeared, blood dripping onto the floor. Pain shot through his arm, but she forced it aside. Pain was just information. It told her she was alive and could keep fighting. They fought for another 10 minutes, landed several more hits, but's armor was too thick. Her strikes did little damage. Meanwhile, hit her twice more, once in the leg and once in her already injured shoulder. Each hit felt like being struck by a vehicle. His breathing was getting harder. Her vision blurred at the edges. She was losing, exactly as everyone had predicted. No, she pushed the thought away. She had not come this far to give up. Changed her strategy. She stopped trying to hurt directly and started attacking the arena itself. She damaged the light panels above, creating shadows that confused targeting. She broke off pieces of the wall to use as obstacles. She made the arena work for her. Noticed and adapted, but it slowed him down slightly. The environment was becoming unpredictable, and even he had to be more careful. Clever, said, "You fight like a human, always changing, always adapting, but I am still stronger." He was right, could feel her body failing. The injuries, the exhaustion, the sheer physical difference between them. She needed to end this soon or she would collapse. 20 minutes into the fight, landed a devastating hit to his ribs. She heard something crack and fell to one knee, gasping. The pain was incredible, making it hard to breathe. The crowd thought it was over. Even the referee moved closer, ready to call the match. Looked up at, in that moment memories flooded her mind. In his wheelchair, his patient teaching, working late into the night on her suit, every human on Earth watching and hopping, every person who had been called weak or primitive. She thought about her species, who had climbed from caves to the stars, who had faced extinction 100 times and always survived, who had conquered their entire planet not through strength, but through refusing to accept defeat. Stood up slowly. Blood dripped from her mouth and her ribs screamed in protest, but she stood. "You are tough," said with genuine respect in his voice, "but this must end." He charged forward with his most powerful attack, both arms raised for a double strike that would end the match. This was it. The moment's technique was designed for. Time seemed to slow down. Watched come at her, every detail crystal clear. She saw the exact angle of his attack, the precise moment when his momentum made him unable to change direction. She moved, not backward or to the side, but forward and down, sliding between his legs. As she passed beneath him, she struck upward at a specific spot on his lower spine, a nerve cluster that had identified in anatomy. His own momentum plus a strike created the perfect combination. The champion's body went rigid as the nerve cluster received a shock it had never experienced. He crashed to the ground, unable to move his legs. The arena went silent. Forced herself to her feet, every movement agony. She circled around to his front. The champion was trying to move, but his lower body would not respond. His eyes showed shock for the first time in decades. "Impossible," he whispered. "How did you know?" "Humans study everything," said through bloody lips. "We find weaknesses you do not know you have." She moved behind him and locked her arms around his neck in a submission hold. She did not want to kill him. She just needed him to surrender. Struggled, and even with his legs paralyzed, he was dangerously strong. His arms reached back, trying to grab her. One hand caught her injured shoulder and screamed in pain but did not let go. "Surrender," she gasped. "Please, I do not want to kill you." The champion tried to break free for another 10 seconds, 20, 30, but the hold was perfect and his strength was fading without oxygen. Finally his hand moved, once, twice, 3 times the tap-out signal. The bell rang. Released him immediately and collapsed onto her back, staring at the lights above. She could not believe it. She had won. She had actually won. The crowd erupted. Half cheered, half screamed in shock and anger. Fortunes had been won and lost in seconds. The impossible had just happened. The referee's voice cut through the noise. "Winner by submission of Earth, new champion." Medical teams rushed onto the floor for both fighters. Paralysis was temporary, already fading as his regeneration worked. He sat up slowly, looking at with an expression she could not read. "You fought with honor," he said finally, "and you showed me something I had forgotten. There is always someone stronger, always something new to learn." He reached out his hand. "I accept my defeat." Barely conscious, shook his hand. The crowd saw the gesture on the giant screens and the cheering grew louder. Reached first, tears streaming down his face. Was right behind him, laughing and crying at the same time. His floating chair came onto the arena floor, and her brother looked at her with such pride that started crying too. "You did it," said. "You showed them what humans can do." The referee raised his arm high, declaring her the new champion. The pain in her body did not matter. The injuries did not matter. She had proven that humans belonged here, among the stars, among the strong. As the medical team lifted her onto a stretcher, looked up at the lights and the thousands of watching faces. Somewhere among them were humans, no longer the weakest species, no longer the newcomers who did not belong. She had changed everything. Then the exhaustion and pain caught up with her, and let the darkness take her, still smiling. Woke up in a white room filled with medical equipment. For a moment, she did not remember where she was. Then the pain in her body reminded her of everything. The fight, the victory. "She is awake." His voice came from somewhere to her right. Faces appeared above her. All of them looked tired but happy, had tears in his eyes again. "How long?" His voice came out rough and dry. 2 days, said. "You have been unconscious for 2 days. The doctor said you pushed your body past all safe limits. You had 3 cracked ribs, a partially collapsed lung, severe muscle damage, and enough internal bleeding to kill most people." "But I am alive," said, trying to smile. "You are alive," agreed, squeezing her hand gently. "And you are famous, the most famous human in the galaxy." Over the next few hours, learned what had happened while she slept. The video of her victory had been watched by over 10 billion beings across the galaxy. Earth's communication networks had crashed from too much traffic. 3 alien species that had previously refused to meet with human diplomats had requested immediate talks. "You changed everything," explained. "Humans are not seen as weak anymore. We are seen as dangerous, unpredictable, and worthy of respect." Visited later that day. The old diplomat looked different, standing taller, more confident. "Miss," he said formally, "on behalf of Earth and all human colonies, I thank you. What you did in that arena accomplished more than 100 years of diplomacy could have achieved." "I just wanted to prove we belong here," said quietly. "You did more than that," replied. "You showed them that humans have something special, the ability to adapt, to overcome, to never give up. These aliens have been in space for thousands of years, but they had become predictable. You reminded them that the universe still has surprises." On the third day, had an unexpected visitor. Entered her room, moving carefully. His legs were healed, but he still walked with slight stiffness. "Champion," he said, using the title with clear respect, "may I speak with you?" "Of course," said, suddenly nervous. Sat in a chair that looked too small for him. "I have been thinking much about our fight. In 40 years I had never lost because I had become comfortable. I knew I was the strongest, the fastest, the best. I stopped learning." He looked directly at her. "You taught me humility, something I had forgotten. For that I am grateful." "You were still the better fighter," said honestly. "I just got lucky." "No," said firmly. "Luck is when you win once by accident. You won 3 preliminary matches and then defeated me through strategy, courage, and understanding. That is not luck, that is skill." He reached into his robe and pulled out a small object. "In my culture, when a warrior is defeated fairly, they may offer an oath of friendship to their better. I offer this to you." It was a small crystal, glowing with internal light. Took it carefully. "I accept," she said, "and I am honored." After left, explained that an oath of friendship from a warrior was one of the highest honors in their culture. Word would spread, and it would help humanity even more. Over the next week, recovered slowly. The medical technology helped, but her body needed time to heal naturally. During this time, she received hundreds of messages. Some were congratulatory, from humans and aliens alike. Others were threatening, from species who saw humanity as a new threat. A few were from other fighters, challenging her to matches. Spent every day with her, and they talked for hours. They discussed the fight, their childhood, their dreams for the future. "I am not angry anymore," said one afternoon. "About my injury, about losing my chance. Watching you fight, seeing what you accomplished, I realized my loss had purpose. It pushed you to be better. And now, because of you, other humans will have better chances." "What will you do now?" asked. "I have been thinking about that," said. "And I have been talking. We want to start a training center for human fighters. Not just for combat, but for any humans who want to compete in galactic sports and competitions. We have learned so much. We should share it." Felt something warm in her chest. That is a wonderful idea. 6 months passed. Retired from active competition, as had recommended. "You achieved what you wanted to achieve," he said. "Now let others follow your path." Together with and opened Earth's first galactic combat training center in Seoul. Young fighters from across human colonies came to train. Taught them techniques, strategy, and most importantly, the human approach to fighting. Adapt, endure, never surrender. Continued her engineering work, developing equipment specifically designed for human physiology rather than copying alien technology. Her innovation started a revolution in human equipment design. Visited the training center several times, offering advice and occasionally demonstrating techniques. His presence drew other alien fighters, curious about the place that had produced the human champion. The center became a meeting place for different species, learning from each other. One morning, received an official message with high-level security. She opened it in her office with present. "This is from the Coalition Defense Force," read over her shoulder. "They want you to join as a combat instructor for multi-species units. They want you to teach other species how humans fight." Stared at the message for a long time. It was an incredible opportunity, teaching the entire galaxy, not just humans, helping different species understand each other through combat training. "What do you think?" she asked. "I think you should do what feels right," said. "You have already changed the world. Now you have a chance to change more." That evening stood in the training center, watching her students practice. Some were young humans who had never been in space before. Others were experienced fighters who wanted to learn the human style. They moved through exercises, helping each other, learning together. On her desk was a photo that had taken months ago, and even all standing together after a training session. Enemies who became friends, different species learning from each other. Looked at the coalition message again. It represented everything she had fought for. Humans being accepted not just as equals, but as teachers, having something valuable to contribute to the galactic community. She opened a response message and began typing, "I accept your offer." As she sent the message, thought about her journey. From a young woman wanting to prove something, to the fighter who defeated the undefeatable champion, to a teacher who would help shape the future. She thought about words from long ago, make them remember what humans can do. She had done that, but more importantly, she had shown that strength came in many forms. Physical power was just one type. Intelligence, adaptability, endurance, and the absolute refusal to give up were powers too, human powers. Outside the window, the city lights of Seoul glowed against the evening sky. Above that, invisible in the daylight, were the stars. Somewhere out there, the galaxy waited. New challenges, new opportunities, new chances to show what humanity could achieve. Smiled. The fight in the arena had been just the beginning. The real work, the important work, was teaching the galaxy that different did not mean weak, that being new did not mean inferior, that every species, including humanity, had something special to offer. She stood and walked back to the training floor. Her students looked up as she entered. "Again," she said, taking her position, "let us practice until we get it perfect." They began training, and through the windows the stars watched. Humanity had proven itself among them, not through conquest or domination, but through courage, intelligence, and the simple refusal to accept limits. The galaxy would never see humans as weak again. And this, new, was just the beginning of what her species would accomplish among the stars.